Number 1. All right, so your test has 30 questions. This has 35. It's pretty long, but I swear this will help you out. You got to do it. I mean, for one, it's for a grade. I always take exam reviews for a grade. It's not extra points like the little quiz reviews that are short and simple. This is an actual, not an exam grade, but this is an actual grade. 2, you can use this for the exam and it's just kind of all there for you versus looking through PowerPoint notes and I don't know, you guys do Google answers, which you shouldn't do. All right, number 1, how did World War II help end the Great Depression in the United States? It created thousands of jobs. All right, that one's easy, right? It created thousands of jobs, which ends the Great Depression. Number 2, what were 3 ways that Americans were supportive with the war effort during World War II? Men and women volunteered in the military. That means they enlisted. Americans bought war bonds and had victory gardens. Those are, I mean, there's more than that, but I'm just going off of 3 that you'll see on your test. Number 3, what is a war bond? It is a loan from citizens to the government. How did money through the purchase of war bonds help support the war? Look at World War II posters. All right, well, the ones that are on the PowerPoint. Anyways, money went to feeding soldiers. Hold on, I can't even see because my toolbar is there. Money went to feeding soldiers, providing medical care and clean, I don't know, shoes, clothes, which is what they needed. So money went to feeding soldiers, providing medical care, and clean shoes, clothes. The clean socks is really what they needed. What does rationing mean? When the government puts limits / controls on American goods for war purposes. So when the government puts limits and controls on American goods for war purposes. So if you missed something, we can always go back in the end. Just let me know. Like, let me know towards the end, like once we're already done, like, can you go back to number 3 or, and if, I mean, I know I'm going pretty fast, but we have, it's a long review. And I just want to make sure we get it all this period. All right, number 6, why were people encouraged to have victory gardens? Because crops had been rationed and to ensure a fair distribution of goods. Because crops had been rationed and to ensure a fair distribution of goods. So my answers are a little random because I'm going off of the way it is on the test. So, that way you can remember certain words and you're like, oh, I remember that when you see the question on the test. All right. How did women contribute to the war effort under the Women Army Corps, WACS? They were given clerical and teaching jobs. What does Rosie the Riveter symbolize? What does Rosie the Riveter want women to do? She symbolizes women working and encouraged women to pick up male jobs that were left behind. All right, number 9, what contributions did the Flying Tigers make to World War II? We just learned about that today, the Flying Tigers. They were the first American volunteer group of pilots that served in China to fight against the Japanese. Number 10, what law passed in 1940 implemented a military draft in the United States? The Selective Training and Service Act of 1940. Eleven, what were the experiences of most African Americans who served in the military during World War II? They served in segregated. Segregated means, right, grouped by race. "12, who were the Tuskegee Airmen? What was their contribution to American history?" I just had a posting on there for the agenda with that. They were a group of brave African American pilots that, trying to think of it the way it is on the test, that helped integrate the armed forces. They were a group of brave African American pilots that helped integrate the armed forces. Because they were brave, they were courageous, and they were just amazing during World War II, it led to the armed forces being integrated shortly after. Who was Vernon Baker? What award did he receive? He was an African American who received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Why are the Navajo Code Talkers significant to American history? What was their contribution to World War II? All right, so the Navajo tribe enlisted in huge numbers and used their language as a code to transmit secret messages in the Pacific Theater, which means against the Japanese. That one's long. It's just like that on the test. Should we take a break? A minute break? So rest your hands. All right. I think we're done with 12. 15. What happened during the Bataan Death March? Thousands of Filipinos, U.S. Filipinos, right? Because they're American. Were forced to march for miles to camps where many died along the way. What was Executive Order 9066? It was a mandatory law that required all Japanese Americans to fight on the West Coast to relocate to internment camps. "17. Why did President Roosevelt feel the need to pass this order? It was a matter of national security, trying to keep the country safe from possible spies." That one's on your test just like that. 18. Why did Korematsu, a Japanese American, sue the government? He felt that his constitutional, where's my spell check? Liberties were violated with the order. What was the Supreme Court ruling, the result in Korematsu versus the United States? Americans' liberties are limited during wartime. Don't put liberties. Whoops, let me go up. Why did the United States pass the Neutrality Acts at the start of World War II? To prevent making the same mistakes that were made during World War I. We just did not, we needed to ensure that we were neutral, that the world knew that we were neutral. '21. What U.S. policy or law helped provide arms means weapons, to Allied countries during World War II? That is the Lend-Lease Act, where we were lending weapons to Allied countries so they can fight in our defense. What caused totalitarian leaders, dictators with expansionist ideas, the idea of expanding, like Germany wanted to expand, Japan wanted to expand, Italy? What caused these dictators with these ideas to rise to power in Europe and Asia in the 1930s? What caused them to do that? We blame World War I and the Great Depression that followed. Let's take like a minute break so my students in person can rest their hands. Oh no, never mind, look at that. Your hand doesn't hurt that much. We're almost done. Less than 10 questions, and that's because the last ones aren't really open-ended questions. 23. How did the Allies appease Hitler at the Munich conference on September 30th, 1938? They formed an agreement allowing Germany to have Sudetenland in Czechoslovakia. How about we just put it like that? Because it's a long word. They formed an agreement allowing Germany to have Sudetenland in Czechoslovakia. What significant event occurred on September 1st, 1939 that sparked World War II? You guys should all know what happened that date. That marks the beginning of World War II. What happened? Germany invaded Poland. 25. What is the significance of the date December 7th, 1941 in World War II? Why is that date important? The U.S. was attacked at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, by the Japanese. Why did the Japanese organize an attack on the United States? Because they were hurt by trade sanctions. Yeah, I misspelled it. That's an embargo. Due to their invasion of China. So we placed an embargo on them. We stopped trading with them because they invaded China. What was the turning point battle in the war in the Pacific? That means against the Japanese. Battle of Midway. Midway, right? Midpoint, turning point. Remember, Midway is a tiny little island in the Pacific, close to Hawaii. '28, what strategy did the U.S. implement to defeat the Japanese Empire and obtain military bases in the Pacific? What strategy? Oh, sorry. Island hopping. So remember, I told you guys that after Midway, we started island hopping and just fighting the Japanese and all those little tiny islands that they occupied. But we also wanted all those islands for military bases because they already had military bases, so we wanted to keep them as ours. I didn't tell you guys that, but that's on the test. 29. What was the name of the nuclear research and development program in the United States that produced the first atomic bombs? That one is easy. Manhattan Project. How is the Holocaust best described? The attempted genocide of the Jewish population in Europe by Hitler and the Nazis. Who liberated the Nazi concentration extermination camps during World War II? Who was the first to find them and free them? The Allies, but I'm also going to put Soviets because they were the first, and then all the Allies that, the Americans, the British, everyone else found them. 32, how did the US get the Japanese to surrender during World War II? They dropped 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We're almost done. 33. All right, it says date and number the following World War II events in chronological order. So you have to put the date of these events and then you have to number them, like this one came first, this one came second. This one's going to be on your test. I'm not even lying. Maybe not in that extensive order, but it's good to know them all. All right, so let's start with dates. The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. We'll put month and year, okay? Because they're all going to be a different month and year. So December 1941. D-Day, the invasion of Normandy. All right, that one I have to put the date, I guess. June 6, 1944. Dropping of the atomic bombs on Japan. August 1945. German invasion of Poland. September 1st, 1939. Should I not put that there? VE Day, victory in Europe. May 8th, 1945. Battle of Stalingrad. 1942, wait, sorry, how was that? That's from 42 to 43. We'll just keep it like that. The Holocaust, when did that begin? 1938. Well, we're just gonna put the beginning year for that one. Okay, then you put it in order, which I'm going to allow you guys to do that because I need to give you the rest. 34, label the dictators with the countries that they represented. Joseph Stalin, Soviet Union, Hideki Tojo, Japan, Adolf Hitler, Germany, and then Mussolini, Italy. And our last question. Label the names of the World War II leaders. President of the US at the beginning of World War II. I'll put FDR. Supreme Allied Commander, commanded D-Day, Eisenhower. Commander-in-Chief of the Pacific Fleet, Nimitz. And President of the US at the end of World War II, Harry Truman. All right, wow, we finished right on time. If you need anything, let me know so I can go back up. If not, you guys are free to go. I will probably post this on Google Classroom, okay? Because I know it went really fast. Have a great day, bye-bye. Remember, it's due Wednesday.